Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Morons for October 1st, 2018. This week, let's begin with hyperbole. Hyperbole can be a useful thing sometimes, like when you're trying to point out how stupid something is through sarcasm. You can go to the extreme for both comedic purposes and to illustrate flawed logic. Sort of what I do with the toxic masculinity thing every week. What I generally say there isn't real. It's intentionally extreme to make a point. But it can also be a dangerous tool in the wrong hands. For example, hysterical actress on Kavanaugh hearing. White men will make us handmaids, take away our rights, vote. Why is this dangerous? Because not only does she actually believe this craziness, but the other lunatics on The View do too. And they're convincing millions of women across the country that this is not hyperbole, but it's real. Why do they oppose Brett Kavanaugh so much? Because they've legitimately convinced themselves that he is one of the four horsemen. It's not hyperbole for them. They really believe it. I'm not going to go through everything they said here. It's linked below. You can read the rest if you like. But let's take a few snippets to illustrate the level of delusional panic, because let's be clear, that is what this is. It's not hyperbole. It's delusional panic. Co-host Joy Behar tried to assist the liberal actress in her slanderous argument. Graham, Grassley, and Hatch, three of them, all opposed reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act in 2013. That's from the Atlantic magazine, that's the source. This is who's deciding the fate of American women, she stated. And why did they oppose it, Joy? Did you ask them? Could it have had anything at all to do with the little extras your liberal twats tried to slip in there? Like, for instance, allowing battered illegal immigrants to claim visas in order to avoid deportation. The Supreme Court also struck down one provision in the original as exceeding the authority of the federal government under the Commerce Clause that allowed women to sue the accused in federal court even if they weren't prosecuted. You see, Joy, legislation is rarely, if ever, just about the title of the bill. Does that mean they support violence against women? No. It means you've oversimplified the shit and refused to even listen to their arguments. You could have quite easily amended the bill to address these concerns, but instead, the Democratic majority didn't and rammed it through over these folks' objections. Now, I don't like it, but that's how the system works, so deal with it. Your problem is, that's still how the system works, but people you don't like are now running the show, and you won't deal with it like an adult. You want to throw a temper tantrum and scream about the sky is falling because you didn't get your way. Well, tough shit, Joy. Put your big girl panties on and deal with it. It's not the end of the world when Joy Behar doesn't get everything Joy Behar wants. Ferreira gushed this was exactly like The Handmaid's Tale, where women are raped and forced to bear children. Without basis, she fearmongered that women were going to lose their rights and their ability to vote. Ferreira says, I keep saying this and people say it sounds incredibly dramatic, but doesn't this feel like the prequel to The Handmaid's Tale? Yes, screams Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most rational people on the planet I've ever seen. Ferreira goes on, this is it. You ask yourself, how did it get this bad? It didn't happen in the dark. It didn't happen in a basement. It happened in plain sight of all of us to see. They will make everything legal. They will take away our rights. They'll actually take away the importance of our vote, so we better start using it before we don't have it. Yeah, that's right, Behar and Sonny Hostin said in unison. Perhaps now might be an appropriate time to remind all of you that The Handmaid's Tale is fucking fiction, you delusional psychos. That's right, fiction, as in made up. You retards didn't go this batshit crazy over Mad Max, did you? No? Gee, why not? Is it maybe because that was fiction? Do you think there's some corner of the globe where the Game of Thrones shit is actually happening too? No? Why not? That's on television too, isn't it? Clearly it must be actually happening somewhere out there, or we couldn't possibly have filmed it, right? I mean, for fuck's sake, ladies, Several of you are actresses. I can't believe I have to explain what fiction is to fucking actresses. Are you fucking kidding me? Now here's the thing. If you wanted to oppose Brett Kavanaugh because of his judicial views, fine. He's said and written some things I don't agree with either. But none of you even bothered to look into any of that. You just went right to, oh my God, he's the very embodiment of patriarchy and he's going to literally chain us all up to a kitchen stove.
Help, help, I'm being repressed.
He will not take away your right to vote, you fucking morons. He can't. I mean, do you shitheels even know how the Supreme Court works? The Supreme Court doesn't just randomly sit down and start voting on shit. What do we think of women's right to vote? Yeah, not a fan. Let's can that shit. They can't do that, you fucking idiots. It's a constitutional amendment. The Supreme Court has absolutely no authority to overturn constitutional amendments. If you get an amendment that says all women are immune from criminal prosecution for any reason under any law, and that horseshit passed Congress and was adopted by 3/4 of the states, then the Supreme Court cannot do a fucking thing about it. It is now law, and they have to follow it. Extreme example, but you get the point. They cannot overturn amendments. Your right to vote is an amendment. While it can be repealed, it can't be overruled. Realistically, it's never going to be repealed either, so it may as well be written in stone. But the point is, the Supreme Court has absolutely no authority over that. None. Brett Kavanaugh cannot take that away from you, no matter what fucking seat he plops his ass in. In other words, The Handmaid's Tale cannot happen here, even if it was realistic, which it most certainly is not. So stop fear-mongering with this fictional tale of complete shit. It's not real. It's not going to be real. It's a fucking television series put on for your entertainment. That's all it is. Alright, moving on. Let's flip to a little craziness from the other side of the political aisle for a bit, because, like it or not, loony lefties don't have a monopoly on stupidity. State Attorney General says students don't have First Amendment rights unless parents sign a form. Okay, this one is kind of long, so I'm not going to go line by line here and read the whole thing to you. If you want to read it all, as always, it's linked below. And if you have the time, might be worth your while to do so. There's quite a bit of legal precedents mentioned here. Appeals courts rulings, Supreme Court cases, etc. I could spend a few days going through all that, but then I wouldn't get this video out on Monday either. Deadlines. Sometimes they are a bitch. Anyway, let me just summarize as fairly as I can before I comment. What this is about is basically a little girl named India Landry who refuses to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance. Evidently, this school is one of the few who bothers to still do that sort of thing anymore. On several occasions, India did not stand during the class recitation and was sent to the principal's office as punishment. Eventually, the principal expelled her from school because she continued to sit. She, or her parents anyway, are now suing the school for violating her right to free speech, and the Texas Attorney General here is trying to argue that her parents must submit a written letter excusing her from standing before she is allowed to sit. His claim is based on a ruling from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals that more or less upholds parental rights to choose what their children are being taught, or in this case, coerced to do. However, the 2008 ruling also struck down a similar portion of a Florida law that required civilians to stand for the pledge, and noted that Supreme Court precedent set by a 1943 case established precedent decades ago that a student has the right to remain seated. Now, like I said, this goes on and back and forth with legal precedent cited on both sides, but let's not get all wrapped up in that jungle, because the point is simple. Does this girl have the right to remain seated during the pledge, Or does the school have the right to force her to stand for it? The answer is pretty simple. No, they do not. You do not check your constitutional rights at the door when you go to school. If she doesn't want to participate in the pledge, she has every right not to. The rest of this is all smoke and mirrors. Virtue signaling patriotic bullshit to get reelected. That's all the Attorney General is doing here. As long as her protest is not disrupting the educational experience of everyone else, which it is not because she's simply sitting there quietly, she is well within her rights, and the flag wavers who pretend they are patriots should learn what it is they say they support. She is exercising her freedom. You should be supporting that. You don't have to support her cause. You don't have to support her reasons. You don't have to support her narratives. I don't either. But you do have to support her rights, or you're just as hypocritical as the douche nozzles you pretend you oppose. Freedom is for everyone, folks, not just the people who agree with you. She's not hurting anyone. She's not disrupting anyone. She's not hindering anyone else's rights in any way. She's simply exercising her rights and her choice not to participate. To Ken Paxton, sit down and shut the fuck up. You're talking out of your ass right now, and as the Attorney General for Texas, I have to assume you know that. This case did not involve you in any way until you decided to earn yourself some virtue points by sticking your ignorant nose into it. Get back to your job and leave this case and this girl alone. I'm sure the courts do not need your moronic input to figure this one out. Now then, what's next? Why I'm leading the #FreePeriods campaign. Bob, what the hell? Are you trying to kill me with an overdose of stupid or something? Yeah, you still can't talk. It was a rhetorical question, idiot. Last year, when I was 17, I was stunned to hear of a hidden problem affecting thousands of girls in the United Kingdom. Period poverty. Girls as young as 11 were routinely skipping school or resorting to improvising with socks stuffed with tissue and newspaper, all because they couldn't afford menstrual products. I was disgusted this was happening right under my nose, but even more appalled that the government had failed to take action to end the problem. Period poverty is undoubtedly a product of the patriarchy. Nope. Done. You're finished. Not even going to listen to the rest of this fucking babbling bullshit. It's already clear you're off the crazy chart, wallowing around somewhere in Delusionville. The patriarchy didn't invent periods. The patriarchy did invent tampons, though. Sort of. I mean, tampons have been around for thousands of years, but many of the earlier ones weren't specifically with periods in mind. They had other uses. Ancient Egyptians, for instance, seem to have used tampons as some sort of medical treatment and contraceptive devices, made from all manner of weird stuff. In fact, a tampon's primary use, up till about the 19th century, was for contraception, not menstrual bleeding. Yes, I cannot believe I've been conned into investigating the history of tampons here, but hey, curiosity sucks sometimes. Besides, it's not as though these fruitcakes will do it themselves. However, the evil male patriarchy, through a man named Earl Haas, did discover the telescoping cardboard applicator to help you out. The patent was bought by Gertrude Tendrick, who initially began producing modern tampons at home and later became the brand name Tampax. Although the pad is still the more popular choice, tampons are about 42% of the market. I am not going to keep going here. You can look all this shit up for yourself if you want to. Honestly, the ancient uses are quite, a little worrying and a bit weird, but hey, ancient people did all sorts of weird shit. To address the point of your little bitch fest, though, why do tampons and pads cost money at all? Why aren't we just handing that shit out for free everywhere to every woman ever born? Well, dear ignorant teen, economics. You see, producing those things in the vast quantities needed to make them accessible for all of you requires thousands of people to work on producing them in hundreds of factories. Those people do not work for free, you fucking idiot. We have to pay them so they can do luxurious things like feed themselves. Where does that money come from to pay those people? Well, clearly it just magically falls out of the sky every other Friday afternoon, right? No, you moron. We gather that money by charging you a modest fee for the product they produce. Your campaign for free shit is erroneous and misleading. You aren't campaigning for free tampons. You are campaigning for government-paid tampons, which means you are campaigning for my money to buy your products. Do you want to buy my soap? No? Why not? Do you want to pay for my shampoo? No? Why not? Do you want to pay for my razors? No? I'm shocked. You see the fucking point yet, shit for brains? Now, if you want to tell the government to stop charging luxury tax on tampons, I'm with you. Seems fucking retarded to do that in the first place. But then I will support just about any reduction in taxes because I think those fuckers steal too much money from us as it is. But you're not asking for that. You're asking for them to steal more of my money for shit I don't need, use, or want. I will never support that. Society does not exist to provide you with everything you could possibly ever need or want, dear. That's your job, not ours. Buy your own shit, you entitled little bitch. And before it comes up later, I'm not going to pay for your fucking wardrobe because you need to wear clothes either, so don't ask. Alright, Bob. Toxic masculinity time. Woman stole ambulance, led cops on chase for 39th arrest since 2013. 39th? What the fuck? Looking at the picture, she's clearly concerned about it too. I wonder why that is. An Oregon woman charged with stealing an ambulance last Sunday while paramedics performed CPR on an unconscious woman had one question after her arrest, according to a report. Why did they leave it unlocked? Suspect Christy Lynn Woods, 37, of Roseburg, asked, according to an affidavit released by the Oregonian. According to court documents, Wood drove the ambulance through downtown Roseburg, then proceeded north on Interstate 5, leading police on a high-speed chase for nearly 30 miles, reaching a speed of 85 miles per hour, the newspaper reported. At one point, Woods struck a police vehicle that was traveling ahead of her in order to divert traffic, the report said. The impact totaled the police vehicle and left Oregon State Police Sergeant Ken Terry with some minor injuries, the news review of Roseburg reported. Later, Woods drove the ambulance over a strip of spikes set up by police near Rice Valley and eventually exited the ambulance at a gas station where she was arrested. It was Woods' 8th arrest this year, the report said. Woods was booked on 13 charges, including assault, interfering with paramedics, criminal mischief, and reckless driving, the Oregonian reported. According to Portland's KOIN-TV, it was Woods' 39th arrest in Douglas County since 2013. In February, she was convicted of second-degree disorderly conduct after allegedly trying to hit bar patrons with an alcohol bottle, yelling slurs, and kicking a police officer, according to the News Review. Well, clearly we live in a toxic male patriarchy, right? This woman proves it. I mean, why else would someone who has already been arrested 8 times this year still be out on the street walking around committing more crimes? Obviously, because our judicial system just hates women, right? I mean, here's a woman convicted of disorderly conduct and attacking other people at a bar just 6 months ago, and we hate women so much that she's not behind bars. Fucking misogyny. Women matter, damn it. Seriously, what's it gonna take, folks? You want to know why she's smiling in that picture? Because so far, she's never been held accountable for her actions, and she clearly doesn't think she will be this time either. That is the patriarchy we live in. Oh, how horrible it must be to be a woman, huh? All right, Bob, let's wrap it up. Seal attacks kayaker with octopus. I'm not going to read this one to you. You just have to see the video. I'll cut it down to just that part, though. Keep it in fair use. But the longer version is linked in the story if you want to watch it.
Underwater?
Yeah.
We don't know what was happening before this, of course, but clearly the seal wasn't happy with that kayaker. But think of the octopus. Just swimming along, minding your own business, then here comes a seal, grabs you up, and flings you into this guy's face. What the fuck, dude? The hell did I do? That's it for this week. Remember the social justice mantra: women are victims, men are oppressors, and feminism is just about equality. I'll see you all next time.